How's it going, everybody? It's Pixelated Pat, and I'm back with another episode of our Pokemon Crystal Randomizer Hardcore Nuzlocke. Today in the agenda, we'll be setting sail to see if we can find the One Piece. With our new recruits Octodad and Jailbird joining the crew, I was beyond excited to take on this next section of the game. Without further ado, let's get on with the episode and find out what wonders await us in the sea as we embark on our journey to find the One Piece. As we set sail and our artillery suddenly turns into a Lapras, the first trainer falls with ease to the might of our newly captured Dodrio, killing both an Ivysaur and an Oddish. Afterwards, we race over to the next trainer who sends out a Seadra. Even though I had Magnemite on hand, I wanted to test our artillery Psybeam, and then we knock it out the next turn with Surf. Next, we go ahead and get our encounter for Route 40 out of the way, and we are met with the Parasect. While it's not a game changer of an encounter in any way, we take the necessary steps to weaken, status, and capture Parasect, so let's give a warm welcome to the first treasure of the sea, Paris Hilton. From there, it's back to facing the other pirates of the sea. After the first one's Graveler falls to a quick serve, the very next Pokemon is the ever so terrifying Wobbuffet. Due to the fact that I do not want smoke with this thing, I sent out Mandy to deal with it by stalling it out, which is exactly what we do when we land a poison gas. From there, I hit a Harden a total of 6 times and hit a Minimize to preparing for the next Pokemon while Wobbuffet fell to the poison damage. Not wanting to waste the stab boost that Muck just got, I leave her in for this Kolava and knock it out after a little bit of back and forth. I'm assuming the next pirate must have been pretty inspired by a performance because they sent out a Grimer, who we instantly sniped with Psybeam. Then they took me by complete surprise as they sent out a Mew. I must have been pretty distracted by my excitement because I forgot I had Transform, and it manages to transform into our artillery decked out with Surf, Bubble Beam, Aurora Beam, and Psybeam. Naturally, it lands Confusion status on the first Psybeam, which not only forces us to hit ourselves into Confusion, but also forces us to switch into Kathy. After taking 16 damage from the switch in, we take another 15 before we set up our first Amnesia. After taking the Aurora Beam on the way to our second Amnesia, we set up a Tail Whip and hit a Slam on the next turn. However, the next Slam misses, so I go for a Surf to hit a little bit of chip damage. However, since the last hit took Kathy down to 1 hit from crit territory, we leave the rest to Shipmaster Snorlax. While checking the area for more pirates to make sure I got them all, we run into a Wild Nidorino, and I was sad that this wasn't a Route 40 encounter because we have a Moonstone in the box, meaning we could have had a Nidoking. Next, we make our way to Route 41, so I instantly decide to go for the encounter, and to my shock we were met with a Houndo. Instantly, I send out Muck to tank any of its Smog attacks, but the very next turn it roars us away, and I'm left to wonder why I didn't just use my Master Ball. We then use Surf on the next one we see because I was feeling a little sea salty. From there, I decided to take my rage out on the local pirates by first taking down this Hitmontop with Psybeam, this Beedrill with the chip damage Aurora Beam, and this Exeggutor with the Pex of Jailbird. The next wild Pokemon decides to troll me by not letting us run away and putting Dodrio to 20 HP just to let my much slower Snorlax run away. Next on the board, we have a Furret who quickly falls to the hard-hitting Jailbird. Next, she sends out a Miltank, and wouldn't you know, I had no fighting types on hand, so I make the decision to hand the reins over to Laxis. So it starts off with Miltank setting up a defense curl on the switch, and hits us with a growl before we land a low damage headbutt. Then, after it uses Milk Drink, I realize this isn't going to work, so I switch over to Mandy, who quickly loses a total of 43 HP to 2 consecutive stomps and a flinch. Refusing to give up, I go for Poison Gas, but I wind up getting lucky with a couple of turns of non-damage dealing moves while Poison Gas misses. Then, on the third try, we finally land Poison Gas, so we switch back over to Laxis and set up 1, 2, and 3 defense curls, as well as 1 and 2 amnesias. Then I can finally enact my plan by using Belly Drum. Miltank heals to full HP with Milk Drink, but loses most of it to the next headbutt. From there, all it takes is another headbutt to get it off the screen. The last Pokemon is a Scizor, but it falls to 1 hit from the Belly Drum boosted headbutt. From there, we make our way east to face the pirate with a total of 6 crewmates. Their first Pokemon falls to our Pinkbow boosted Tri-Attack, and their Golem falls to Kathy's Surf. Next, their Rooper falls to Jailbird's Tri-Attack, and their Coughing falls to Octodad Psybeam. Next up, their Heracross does manage to put up a fight, but we take it out with the second Psybeam, which finally leaves their Remoraid, who falls to good old Static. Full team trainers like this are always a worry in a randomizer, but I'm glad we got through that one without incident. Next up, we meet a like-minded pirate who grants us with an audience with Lord Helix. While we did take it down easily enough with Static, I began to feel the pressure here since his presence usually comes with the legendary soon after. Regardless, I stay focused and take down this Porygon with Sonic Boom. The next trainer makes my blood race even more, as he also grants us with an audience with Lord Helix, and the last time this happened twice on one route we got a Lugia, so I was definitely beginning to feel nervous, especially after his water gun dealt good damage on static. From there we switch into Mandy, who manages to land a poison gas after a couple of turns. From there I switch over to Laxis, set up 1, 2, and 3 amnesias, as well as 1 and 2 defense scrolls. Next up I set up Belly Drum and finished it off with a headbutt. Next up he sends out a Kingdra, who falls in one hit to our Belly Drum boosted beast. Next up, the very next trainer we battle fulfills the prophecy of the Helix by sending out a Houndo, and to make it worse we've been leading with static, which forces us into an immediate switch into Mandy. While she does tank a Sacred Fire, she winds up with the burn, which only made me more nervous. From there, Houndo lands a Gust, and we miss on the poison gas. Then after a Sacred Fire puts us to 15 HP, we land the poison gas and manage to survive the burn with 3 HP. From there we switch over to Kathy, who loses 34 HP to 2 consecutive gusts before she manages to land a huge surf. From there it's a simple headbutt jump for Laxis to take this threat off the screen. After healing up, the very next pirate we come across sends out a Tauros, and I decided to leave static in because I wanted him to get some XP. However, he lost more HP than I was comfortable with to a horn attack, which forced me to switch over to Laxis, who lands a huge blow with headbutt. It was then I noticed Headbutt's PP was running low, so I switched over to Mandy, and while Tauros did manage to land a crit, we hit it with Pound and it goes down after a good fight. Their third Pokemon was easy pickings as well, with their Vileplume falling to our good friend Dodrio, and just like that we have only one section of the route left before we finish up with an encounter on our way to Cianwood City. The next trainer proves to be an interesting battle as well, sending out a Celebi. I switch from static over to Mandy and land a poison gas to deal passive damage while we time out its ancient power. After sending static back out, it manages to land a crit, but we also managed to land a supersonic. From there I switch into Drillbird, but I come upon to the realization that I miscounted when we get hit with a huge ancient power. Panic stricken, I send in Laxis to eat his plate of raw onions with a pair of headbutts. While I realized afterwards that I could have just left Drillbird in, I was scared. After that exciting battle, the last two trainers of the route don't have much to offer, with the first one sending out a Marowak and a Ponyta who both fell to Kathy's Surf, and the final trainer of the route whose mag befalls to Laxis' headbutt because I wanted the final meal of the route to go to the king of the team. From there, I surf around the area for a couple of minutes, making sure I don't miss any potentially hiding trainers, as well as running into several wild encounters that were better than what we wound up with. After confirming that I've defeated all the pirates in the area and became the Pirate King, we can finally move on to our final encounter. For our Cianwood City encounter, we are blessed with the lovely Steelix, and I felt like it was a reward for making it through the trials of the ocean I just faced. After losing our only self-destruct encounter in Mischievous, I knew I had to make this defensive behemoth ours. After weakening it, the ball toss begins, and after the first heavy ball fails, I decided to start throwing fastballs, even though they're only as effective as regular Pokeballs thanks to a programming error in Generation 2. Now would be a good time to mention that in between recording sessions and after work every day, I hit up all the berry and apricorn trees as well as get balls from Kurt. Anyways, the fifth ball manages to secure the encounter, and of all things, I never thought I'd say that I captured a Steelix in a fastball. And so we nickname him Steel Bro and add him to the roster. That being said, we have officially reached the end of today's episode, so as always, I want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who's been tuning into the channel and joining me on this adventure. It means the world knowing that you guys are on this adventure with me, and I wouldn't have it any other way. As always, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Pixelated Pat, signing off.